What's up? It's Q&A day. It's Friday. Doug Cunnington here from Niche Site Project. And today is the day that I answer the random questions. So we're going to talk about niche sites and authority sites and marketing, whatever comes up. So welcome. Let me know in the chat if you could hear me. I think people usually can hear me. We've worked through a lot of those early kinks already. Have a couple of quick announcements before we get started, and I'll probably mention it multiple times. So number one, a lot of people watch the replay, right? So a lot of people show up live, which I definitely appreciate. I hope more and more people do show up. And if you're watching the replay, right, if you watch the recorded version, leave a comment. Please leave a comment and just say, I watched the replay, or you can ask a question. You can give me a compliment. You can tell me that my head's pretty shiny. This new light really brings out the shininess. So just let me know. The point is, I'd like for you to comment. A couple reasons for that, which I'll tell you. One, I want to see if this video gets more views, gets shared, sort of suggested more with more comments. So I'm just curious about that. Number one. And number two, I'm just curious, how many people will leave a comment and are, interactive even on the recorded version. So that's number one. If you're watching the recorded version, leave a comment. I see we have our usual suspects, a lot of names I recognize. Charles, Emil, we have Wesley, we have David, Alexander, we have Liz, John. Thanks everyone for showing up. And a couple other notes that I want to leave. And Duke says, you used to have long hair, but you ended up having to cut it. Your long hair was hiding your redneck. Very good. Very good. Nice. Okay. Couple other things. So number one, leave a comment if you're watching the recorded version, or if you already, if you already watch it and you watch it again later, like you missed the other half, leave a comment then too. Everyone leave a comment. All right. That's what I'm trying to say. Number two, there's a webinar next Thursday. There's a link in the description. I'm going to go over conversions, like improving conversions in different areas for affiliate marketing in general. I'll give specific examples on Amazon affiliate sites. So I'm going to go over 17 different ways you can sign up in the description below. You click the link, you got to enter your email. The other thing, two more things I'm going to announce, and I'll probably announce it a couple more times. There are 3 super interesting interviews coming out next week. One is with our good man, Wesley, who's actually in the chat right now. Thanks, Wesley, for the conversation earlier this week. The other is with Jaron, who will probably show up. He's on these often. And Ellen. So 3 really interesting conversations, 3 different sort of case studies on the keyword golden ratio. No one's my student, by the way. They just, implemented what I teach and got good results. One of them is around launching a site, getting traffic, making a sale in about 30, 31 days. The other is a brand new person who launched a site, I think 4 months ago, and is already at about $100 per month. So kind of on a fast trajectory. And then third is an 8-month-old site that's making about, it's already made 2,000 in February. So that was good. But it looks like in March, it's heading for 3,000. So that's fantastic in an 8-month range, right? So an 8-month timeline, really fast. Those 3 interviews are coming out next week. I'm not sure. I may publish them all on one day and put them in a playlist, put them in a series, and just, try a different way to release it, hopefully to encourage some sort of binge watching situation. But thanks to Wesley and Ellen and to Jaron as well. Those are coming out next week. And the 4th and final announcement is the mini course. So I do a mini course via email about once a quarter. All right. It's good. It gets you ramped up to start a site, or to sort of, if you already have a site going, it kind of refines your focus a little bit. And that'll be on April 9th through the 13th. That week, I'm sending out 3 emails. I'm going to mention it a lot. I'm going to try and remind people, if you want to get those emails, you need to be on my email list. So if you sign up for the webinar, you can get on the email list that way, or just go to nichesiteproject.com. I think there's probably a link in the description. Click on the green button. There's a few ways to sign up, and you can just sign up for it there. All right. Questions should be coming in. And by the way, thanks to the moderators. We have Duke, we have Lance on. Thanks a lot for the help. It makes it much easier. The trolls occasionally do show up. John is giving a shout out, says, thanks for the content webinar yesterday. You wrote 700 words last night, and that's a record for you. Congratulations, John. It gets easier from there. You did 700, so now you can do even more. All right, let me know the questions that you have. A few were sent in. I'm going to go ahead and hit those. If people are just joining up, I'm going to go over other announcements and stuff, but you can start putting in your questions. I'll go ahead and put the reminder in for liking the video. All right. So David, thank you. Good to have you back on more regularly, David. You already clicked because you said I'll probably be dropping lots of value. Thanks. I hope so. Okay. A couple cool questions that were sent in, and I'm going to go ahead and hit those since it's kind of quiet in the chat. We don't have as many people on today. And we have Sahil. What's up? Okay. Question from Simon. All right. He says, big fan, quick question. Have you tested how top 10 lists compares to top 5 lists in terms of money? I've always been doing top 5 lists for niche sites, and I guess it's overthinking it. But the question is, it seems like 5 times more people search for top 10 products when compared to top 5 products. All right. So Simon, interesting question. You're right. I think it's overthinking it. When you first sent the question in, Simon, I thought, you know what? It doesn't matter. Just publish either one. Just pick one. If you're just launching your site, publish 5, and then if you have time, publish 10, whatever. However, when I reread the question and thought a little bit deeper, you mentioned it seems that 5 times the people are searching for one search term over the other search term. So that said, do the one that more people search for, most likely, unless the competition looks to be, out of control or much harder for the higher search volume. So as most questions and answers go, it depends, because you have to look at the specific keyword and stuff. When I do look at, if someone is hypothetically asking me though, oh, should I do, 7 items or 10? Which one converts better? Because that's part of the question too that's buried in there. If you're publishing 10 versus 7, it doesn't matter. It's a waste of time to try and test those two, because there's probably so many areas that you can make other improvements where you're going to get a bigger impact. I doubt it makes a difference, right? It probably isn't going to make a difference. And you would most likely need to have a huge amount of traffic to be able to test that effectively in a reasonable amount of time. All right. And we have eaten lunch, fishing, which I think your name is Mark. Let me know. Is your name Mark? I keep forgetting. I remember your little picture there. I remember you spent time in Parker, right? But the names, like I said, it's a little difficult sometimes. Okay. Mark says, good work, good week for the keyword golden ratio. It's already starting to work. By the way, if people are new and you haven't been exposed to the keyword golden ratio, there's a link to a playlist where I put together some of the core material of the keyword golden ratio. So check that out. If you're unfamiliar, good job, Mark, taking action and publishing stuff. Sakit says, you want to thank me from the bottom of your heart. One of your posts has started to rank on the 3rd position of the first page in 6 days. There you go, Sakit. Great job. You're welcome. Keep taking action. All right. Duke says, have I noticed any discrepancies in the rankings serplab.co.uk shows versus other rank trackers? You're seeing it showing higher rankings than others and less volume of visitors than you should be getting for those rankings. I'm not sure. So Duke, that could be possible. To be honest, I don't look in other areas. I'm not double checking. But if you are seeing a trend, what other tools are you tracking with? That's my follow-up question. So what other tools are you tracking with? It's possible, right? Server location, time of day. There's a number of factors that like sort of come into play there. So I'm not 100% sure. For me, serplab.co.uk does, and by the way, that's the rankings tracker. It's a paid service. I'm not affiliated or anything, but they seem to do a good job. It seems to be reasonably like a true gauge of the rankings for me. So yeah, it could be possible. Next cool thing says, you've gone through the KGR concept and you're looking to apply it to YouTube. What are my thoughts on the KGR on YouTube? Some KGRs on Google are vastly different than on YouTube. Okay. So I think you have an opportunity here. I've thought about it a little bit, but the thing that happens, right? Most people, per my understanding, most people watch suggested videos. All right. So maybe they search for something initially, but they stick around because of suggested videos. So even if you can rank for a certain term, then actually, and everyone can do a test for me, especially if you're on a desktop, you can pull open another tab, potentially an incognito tab. I'm going to go ahead, or window. I'm going to go ahead and do this as well. And, if you go to YouTube, and I'll type in what to search for as well. So YouTube, but basically I did a video the other day on tactics in a Tesla, right? So this is a new series by Pat Flynn on his channel. I'm a big fan of smart passive income. And I was just, it was one of those days where I was like, oh, you know what? That's an interesting concept that Pat is doing. And I connected the dots on several like marketing and positioning things that I understood. And I was like, this is what Pat's doing. So it was sort of a fun video that I digressed, and maybe I should have like been working on something else, but I'm going to share with you something. So, and this is the reason why I'm showing you this is, who asked the question? Next cool thing. This is how you could apply the KGR, but it turns out it may not be like super powerful. It's not going to do the same thing that we imagine it will do in like Google. All right. So if you go to an incognito window and you type in tactics in a Tesla, see what comes up. All right. So there's a couple interesting things here. Let me know in the chat. And by the way, in the comments, let me know too. So this is sort of an application, and it's rare that I'm able to like show you specific examples. Now, the problem is no one's really searching for tactics in a Tesla. However, right, there's not that much content. There's 2 videos with it out there. And then I created a video myself, right? And then I created a playlist, which anyone can create a playlist. And I put Pat's 2 videos in, and then put my video in as well. Now, I'm sure very few people are going to search for tactics in a Tesla, but the point is, like, there's such a low amount of competition for it because no one searches for it, right? It's not a valuable keyword. But like, I rank 2. People are saying, I'm ranking number 2. Pat's number 1 for his most recent interview with Amy Landino. And by the way, it was published 2 days ago. In a day, it got 2,000 views, and it's continuing to get more and more views, right? So it's actually doing pretty well. You'll also notice my playlist, it actually ranks above or at least on my side, I'm ranked number 3 with the playlist over the interview with Sean Cannell, which Sean's awesome, right? I watch a ton of his videos. Okay, so it sounds like the playlist is different, but here's the point. I went really deep because I'm interested in this topic. Next cool thing, I've thought about how to take advantage of, take this concept. What other search engines could we apply it to? But people don't search. People search a lot on YouTube, but suggested videos drive most of the views based on my understanding. So if you could improve that, right, it would be amazing if somehow my video, right, if my video where I analyze Pat's show shows up as a suggested video for people watching those 2 videos, it'll be great, right? That's what I want to happen. Will that happen? I actually doubt it, because when I look at one of the specific videos, like the Amy Landino video, like if you look at that one, you'll see that mostly it's her videos that are recommended, which makes sense. It's not going to be my video that's recommended unless someone happens to watch my channel, right? Okay, so I went deep on that. Hopefully that was interesting. If it was, let me know. If it was boring, also let me know, because I can not go as deep in the future. Okay, so the point is, next cool thing, there's something that you can do. You'll need to tweak it a little bit more, right? For the keyword golden ratio on YouTube, you'll need to tweak it somehow. It's hard to get a true sort of idea of the search volume on YouTube. We can get a relative idea based on other keywords and stuff, but you can't really get the search volumes from YouTube, per my understanding. Maybe you can, but I don't think that you can. All right. Very good question. And Lance says, does the Google Sandbox time frame apply to the website age or the post age? Okay. I think there are 2 areas. So I believe the domain, right? I believe the domain has a 6-month period that it's in the sandbox, right? It's possible to shorten it, to get out of it sooner. I've seen sites rank really well within 2 or 3 months, but typically you have to have a pretty big budget and a really strong understanding of exactly what you're doing and why and when to do it. I also believe that there is a sandbox for specific URLs. So yeah, per post. I think it could be shorter, and I think it could be a lot more random. But I know that when I published a lot of KGR content, it took a couple months for those posts to really get a lot more traffic. So I think they ranked quickly, like a lot of people demonstrate. They ranked quickly for the term in which I was trying to rank it for. But then after some amount of time, I think about 3 months or so, 2.5, 3, 4 months or so, it would start ranking for more long tails. It would just start getting more traffic, even though it wasn't moving up in the rankings as much. And then slowly it was getting more and more traffic. So Lance, I think there is some kind of a random shorter like sandbox period for individual URLs. Okay. Mark says, you're curious about the keyword golden ratio with the 0 search volume. For example, one of your KGR posts is now getting search traffic for other longer tail keywords than what I targeted. Some of these have a 0 search volume. Okay. Basically, the answer is the search volumes that we see are just approximations. So 0 could be, average. Actually, let's do an extreme example. For most of the months of the year, right? It's a monthly average. So most of the months of the year, it's 0. And then for 1 month, it's like 110. if they round it down, they may round it to 0 because on average, assuming I didn't mess up my math, on average, no one searches for it. Like on average in a month, 0 people search for it, or like 1 or 2, right? So if we're doing my math, like 1 or 2 people search for it per month, they round it down to 0. However, other people may search for very related terms that you would rank for. So basically, that's why you can and should go after 0 search volumes. And specifically, right, some of the people that are in the interviews next week, if you're just joining up, I have 3 super interesting interviews. They're very informative. They are case studies of keyword golden ratio, basically success stories. And 0 search volume is exactly what works really well, because most people think exactly what you're alluding to, that 0 search volume means that no one searches for it. It just means on average it's 0, but long tail keywords. And this is one of the reasons why like the traffic estimates from SEMrush or Ahrefs are off, right? They're only like coming up with an estimate based on the data they have for certain keywords that they're tracking. But that's only a subset of the keywords that are actually out there. People could be searching for much longer tail, very specific things, but yours is the closest match. All right, Sahil says you have a keyword golden ratio article. When you do an all in title in Google, you can't see your article. The all in title results, blah, blah, blah. Does it happen with everyone? Okay, basically, Sahil, my prediction, right? You didn't tell me this, but my guess is your site's really young. So just give it time. And I've heard this. It happens more often than I would have expected. But if your site's really young, under 6 months, you'll see it show up. You'll see it not show up. And typically, if you just stick with it, keep publishing content, do outreach, follow the plan, it'll show up. You'll start getting traffic. Alternatively, if you screwed up somehow, if it's like over optimized or something like that, like you use the keyword too many times, then that could have a factor in there as well. Anil's on, what's up? And Duke says you're using SERP Fox and SERP Watcher by KW Finder. Cool. So I would say, Duke, totally possible. I would maybe reach out to each of the companies and just ask the question. Just say straight up, like maybe they have a certain algorithm that, makes it slightly different, but reach out to them and just ask them, because I actually don't know. All right. Oh, and Liz, thanks for the recommendation to Sahil, just to try to see if the post is indexed. And again, same deal. I have seen it take a little while for posts to show up. Sometimes your site could be indexed, but a specific post is not showing up in the search results, even though like you've submitted the sitemap and they know it's on there and all that stuff. Carl says you have 90 articles, most are 2,000 words, 80% are sitting at the top of page 2 with the rest on page 1. It's 5 months old. Would I boost the content on page 2 or just wait and see? Okay. I think I would probably keep boosting it. So here's probably what's going to happen. And Carl, I know you watch a lot of the videos. I want you to report back to me, like once it hits 6 months, let me know, because probably what's going to happen is your traffic's going to go up by a lot. And here's what a lot of people do, and I can't blame you. A lot of people will, they'll work and they will wait for the 6 month period to hit, and then traffic will go up and they're like, oh, I need to put more time and effort into it right now. But the more effort you put into it, the more it's going to pay off in the future anyway. So if you have confidence, right? I mean, if you have 80% at page 2 right now, like you're poised to explode. And by the way, Ellen, who is going to be on the channel next week, that is exactly what happened. Like things were a little slow at the beginning and then it popped. It was amazing. So, like I mentioned, she's on track to hit 3,000 here in March. Her site's only 8 months old. So, Carl, I hope you have a similar trajectory. Okay, thanks everyone for checking out the tactics in a Tesla thing that I just mentioned. So again, if people miss that or something, or if you're watching the replay, do check it out and you know, click on my video and then watch it, and then click on one of Pat's. Let's try and get some like association between the two if we can. All right. Let's see. Peter, what's up? Randall, yep, we are live and you made it. It looks like you have a guitar there. Is that some sort of a Les Paul or something? All right. Thomas says, how important is the title tag optimization? It's important. Do I recommend using only the KGR term? What if the KGR term is short? How do I approach it? Well, do what makes sense. You can have other stuff in there. All right. So if it's like weird phrasing, fix it up, put another word in there if you need to make it make sense. And yeah, so I think that covers it. Brandon says, hello from China. What's up? Good to have you on. You say human proof designs will do keyword golden ratio articles for you, but won't post them. You really don't want to do it yourself. Any suggestions on how to get this done kind of easily? So this will not be a helpful answer. So you can hire someone to do it. So I'm not sure what solution. Tell me more, Brandon, because I know. Yeah, I know you have a deeper question than that, but hire someone to do it and then they do it and then problem solved. Or, right, other people will do it. Human proof designs, they're my friends. Dom's my friend. I was on his podcast several times. He's been on my channel. You know, if they're not doing the service that you want, then you can go to another service. So, but I always hired, I've never used a service such as human proof designs or content refined or anything like that. I've always had issues with content services where they handle the admin because it's more expensive. And then I'm pretty good at the admin stuff. So, all right, Brandon, let me know what you're really trying to ask. And I see we're tipping over to about 50 people. So welcome new folks, by the way. That's great to have everyone on. I'm going to make a quick announcement. I'm going to get through the questions here. I'm going to answer a little faster. I'm going to do some of the announcements because I know a lot of fresh faces are on here. Hit the thumbs up if you have the ability to. What I'll mention is, okay, going through. Okay, Randall says, in my program, do I have in my program, do I have a proprietary tool for keyword research that has the keyword golden ratio built in? No, I don't. I think it's probably possible, but I have low interest in doing that. It's a whole other set of stuff. And Randall, here's the thing. You may think I'm crazy, but spending the time on the keyword research tools, spending the time looking these up, that is the most value. I mean, the keywords are interesting, right? You want to get the output of the keywords, but if you can learn the process and the mindset of going through it, that, Randall, is the important part. It's not the actual keywords. So, you know, someone asked a question about applying the keyword golden ratio to YouTube. And I'm going to say, apply it to any search engine. You could apply it to, you know, Pinterest or, you know, some sort of Facebook search or something like that. I'm not sure how you apply it, but if you just have a tool that spits out the number, that is not as useful, in my opinion. So in the course is, I use that mindset throughout. So it's not about getting like the fast keywords as quickly as possible. By the way, if everyone just had access to these keywords and it was super easy to find, the value would go down. The manual nature of looking these up is part of the reason why they're valuable. So Randall, no, it's not in there. But honestly, it's simple enough to find them. And it's simple enough to train someone to find them too. Okay, Mark had to go to lunch. Awesome. And then John says you have a new site with a handful of articles and you're thinking to scale up with more articles by outsourcing. The question is, what is my thought on when and how to scale it up? All right. Basically, it's largely up to you and what your goals are. A lot of times the inputs that you should consider are like your budget and like the time frame that you're dealing with. So for most people, I'm going to recommend publishing like 10 articles and then spending your time doing the outreach. And to what Carl was saying, you're doing, I mean, it's my prescription, right? It's 5 blog comments a day and doing outreach. That is what you should probably do. You should probably put your time towards outreach and building up like your site as far as like a brand and getting links and networking and stuff, and then start adding more content. However, you can do it as soon as you want. And if your budget allows for it, there's no harm in doing like publishing more content, you know, as much as you can, as fast as you can, basically. And you can do outreach in the blog comments as fast as you can, as quickly as you can, if you can afford it. So there's no harm in those things. So John, it's all like you're the limit, right? You're the limit, but you have to look at what your constraints are. Okay. Quick announcement. I see some questions are rolling in, which is great. Keep them coming. The announcements, there's a webinar, right? So if you just joined up, there's a webinar next Thursday. It's free. There's no pitch. There's a link in the description. I'm going over conversion improvement techniques for Amazon affiliate sites. So if you're interested in affiliate sites in general, if you have a site already, if you're just starting your site, basically I cover a lot of stuff. I tell you a specific strategy and then I show you an example of it, right? So I don't just go over the strategy, but I show you how it's been implemented out in the wild on a real site. Next, there's a mini course on April 9th through the 13th. It's free. It's via email. I'm actually thinking about doing videos which go along with them. Basically the same content is in the emails, but you should sign up for the email list if you're not on it. So if you just go to nichesiteproject.com, hit the green button, name an email. Then you're on there. April 9th through the 13th. It's a 3-part course. It's free. It starts with mindset and gets you sort of pumped up to either start a site or clarify exactly what you're trying to do with a site that you already have. Third thing is there is a series, 3 interviews, success stories. A couple people are in the chat right now that I'm publishing next week, right? So it follows a site that is 8 months old. It's about to make 3,000 here in March. A site that's 4 months old, hit $100 already by a brand new person to niche site. They launched the site 4 months ago. The month before that, 5 months ago, is when they learned about niche sites and like making money online. And then the other is a site that started ranking and made its first sale within like 30, 31 days, something like that. Very fast, just about as fast as I've seen it. Okay, so those are coming out next week. Keep an eye out for them. I think I'm going to release that. Now that I'm saying it more out loud, I think I'm going to release them all in one day, put them in a series in a playlist, and just see if people will binge watch them. So set aside some time, set aside a couple hours, or about an hour and 20 minutes or so, and I think you can get through all 3 of them. Okay. Keep the questions coming. I see we have Thomas says, when using the keyword golden ratio, should we place any importance on the SERP analysis? If so, how much? Okay. I would say low SERP analysis. Here is the main thing to check for. You'll want to, do your analysis. Let's say you have a keyword which you think is good. And then you could say, or what you should do after that is just go Google the term and see what comes up. If it is, all e-commerce sites or mostly e-commerce sites, that's bad because it's showing that Google is favoring e-commerce for that term. If it's all YouTube, right? If it's all YouTube videos, bad, right? You want to see a mix of stuff that you think you can compete with, but that's about it. I usually don't look. I usually just publish it, move forward, right? I'm doing this at a large volume, right? So I don't care. I'm like, there's some waste in the system. Some are going to be bad, some are going to be good. And just have a look, Google it, see what comes up. You want to make sure it's a blend of sites with content, maybe other niche sites, maybe just people that are, not targeting it. So that's the analysis I do. All right, Patriot News Flash, what's up? Good to have you on. Peter says the KGR should have a local monthly searches LMS of 250. What if you have 5 all in title, local monthly searches of 1,000? Even if you do 5 over 250, you get 2 blah blah blah. Is there a reason why not? Peter, go for it. It is probably fine. So I know you've been around these for a bit. It's probably fine. The reason why is I want to keep the formula simple. So I actually internally I'm using a progressive scale that I'm testing out. But there's a couple reasons why the keyword golden ratio is good. One, it works, right? So we're getting good results. So it works, the most important part. The other part is it's simple. There's 2 numbers in there. If I added a lot of details, caveats, assumptions, all this other crap to make it more exact, it's confusing, right? Honestly, the funny thing is a lot of people they've approached me. They send emails. They send angry emails. This is funny. They send angry emails. Actually, there's probably some comments in the videos. People are just like, they're upset at me. I'm making it too complicated. They're telling me I'm spreading lies and stuff. They're upset, I appreciate the passion they have because I don't even know if I care about it that much. But yeah, they're really upset. They're saying I'm making it too complicated. So the last thing I want to do is introduce any more details. But yeah, technically, yes, you're right. What you want is you want a small number of all in title. That's what you want. And Liz, yes, this is to my point earlier. So doing keyword golden ratio style research, it could lead to other topics that you didn't think about and that other tools would not catch. That is 100% true. And when you start digging into the details and looking at other sites, like there's like all these edge, like sort of cases, edge keywords that you'll find. Those are great. Albert says, with a Google auto suggest to get 0 search volume, how many all in title results should we look for to make sure it's worthwhile? That's a good question. I usually, if it's like under 100, that's usually what I'll go for. So, right, that turns the whole formula upside down. Of course, we're dividing by 0, so that doesn't work, first of all. And then I'm saying, even up to 100, I'll go for it. But you should pick a threshold, test it out. What I would really do, because 100 may just work for me and my site. Other times I just ignore it. I'm just like, let's just publish it. Whatever. Let's just go for it. You can do the litmus that I just mentioned, where you basically just Google it, see if you think you could compete. If you can, publish it. So there's no hard and fast rule. I say about 100, go for it after that. Mohammed says, you asked before about a product versus product click-through. You just ranked for a keyword and the conversion rate is good and you ranked without backlinks at all. Mohammed, that's fantastic. Congratulations. Yeah, I mean, at that point, like people know what they're searching for and it's harder to to write those posts, potentially it takes a little more research. People are lazy. So, having that in there is good. So great. Thanks for the um, confirmation on that. Okay. Lance says, your domain URL is ranking for a KGR term that you made a 2,000 word post for. You would expect the post title for the KGR to rank. Not sure what to expect and why it's happening. Okay. You just posted it last week and it's gone from 42 to 31. Duke says exactly what I was about to say. So it's pretty normal. It takes time. Give it a month or so. The other thing that I'll mention is probably Lance. I'm going to make an assumption that on your homepage you have recent posts listed, so that text is actually on the homepage. That's fine. No worries on that. You may want to publish a couple other things to, and I'm not saying you have to, but you can do a couple things, but I would probably just chill for like a month or so and just see what happens. Lance, you are in the course, so if you need help like troubleshooting, there's some tactics and things that we could try. Since your homepage is ranking, that is less ideal. We have fewer options, but we do have some options, and I have some ideas on how to take care of that after we give it enough time. Brandon follows up and says that Human Proof Designs will post the monthly articles, but the KGR is for the article packs only, which they won't post. You want someone else to format and post it to your site, but finding someone has sucked. Okay. So Brandon, totally understand what you're saying. Everyone keep the questions coming. All right. This will be one of the, Brandon, you've been on several of these. We've exchanged some emails and stuff in the, I think way back, but so I think this is coming from a good place. Okay, everything will suck. Everything sucks. Okay, so that's the name of the game here. It sucks. When I talk about hiring the editors and going through training and whatever. Basically, when I hired an editor, it took a while. I think I hired, well, you know what? It took some effort or whatever, but I hired like 4 people and I ended up with 1, right? It's not bad when you think about it, but I knew off like immediately that I was going to have trouble. There's work style. Some people don't follow directions. Maybe you pick the wrong one. Maybe someone has a bad week. So you're going to have to deal with the sucky part of it in that. And then just every step of the way, everything's going to take a little longer. Everything is not going to go how you planned. It's going to be a little bit harder. So if you just have that in mind, then you should be okay. So if it does suck to hire someone, it probably means you're doing it right. And I would recommend, just continuing to push through. The formatting and posting it to your site is something that, does take a while. So it's interesting. So the Human Proof Design service, they'll post their monthly articles, but the KGR is for the article packs only. So it's weird that they won't do that. It's kind of strange. Have you already asked them to do it? All right. Gavin says, you just joined. What course am I talking about? The quote, 4 months, 8-month website, etc. Okay, cool. I think I need to restate the announcement. So before, number 1, if you're watching the replay and somehow you made it through to the 45-minute mark and you haven't left a comment, please leave a comment. If you're watching live, give a thumbs up. Hopefully it'll help other people to find it. The 4 announcements that I'll make. There's a webinar next Thursday. There's a link below. If you're interested in learning about improving conversions for a site, you can sign up for it. Next week, there's going to be 3 interviews coming out, success stories. Jaron just hopped on. Good to have you on. Jaron's on there. Wesley and Ellen are the people that I interviewed. They are implementing the keyword golden ratio. They're getting a lot of success. So getting a sale within 31 days, hitting $100 within 4 months, brand new person, and then hitting almost 3,000 in 8 months are the stories. So that's what I'm talking about, Gavin. As far as the course, there's a couple things. So number one, my free course, right? There's a free mini course that'll be coming out via email on April 9th through the 13th. And then the following week is when 5-Figure Niche Site will be open for enrollment, and that is the 16th through the 20th. So those are the two courses that you should be aware about. Make sure you're on the email list and you'll learn all about it. And Kevin is on. What's up? Good to have you. And let's see. Thomas says, you rank number 1 with all in titles. Okay, but without it, you're 12 or less. Your content is better than longer than most, but they still outrank me. Should I wait or continue to add content? Thomas, it depends on how long ago you published them. So I would say it can take a few months for it to continue to move up. And you're ranking on the top of the second page. So I know that like Carl mentioned this before, you're ranking at the top of the second page. You're probably still in the sandbox. So once you get out of the sandbox, you should probably move up. So I would probably continue to add content to your site. Or if you haven't done any link building, do link building. Spend a lot of time on that. And Neil says, can I use Amazon in the domain name? No, I would avoid that. Nenad says, what if the KGR volume is 20 and the all-in title is 9? That's 0.45. I know you talked about 0.25 max, but it's only 9 all-in title. I don't know, should I use the keywords in this or not? All right. I would say you can do whatever you want, but if you want to follow the keyword golden ratio and get success, like the people that I just mentioned, you probably should follow what I'm telling you first. And then once you kind of get a handle on what the hell's going on, then Nenad, you can experiment, see what else you can do. But I would stick to the formula. Liz says, the KGR is just a guide. I've made it as simple as I can. Yeah, thanks. Exactly. So try and keep it simple. And then Hire says, switching back and forth between Doug and Pat. That's cool. That's really good. That's amazing that I'm the two things that, or I'm part of the two and Pat Flynn's the other. So cool. Yeah. Thanks. Brandon, you say, yes, you have. Oh, so you asked Human Proof Designs. You said you talked to them directly, and what you said comes from them. You were just wondering if there was another place for formatters besides Upwork. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, actually, there are an unlimited number of options that you have, which is what makes it hard. So yeah, and I would say, I'm not sure like why they're putting the constraint on it or whatever, but they recently actually, I don't even know if I can say anything, so I won't. But anyway, check with them, and it sounds like you have. So I would say, if you really want someone else to do it, you will have to find someone else to do it yourself. And I mean, frankly, I'm pretty sure like anytime you're handling it, you're hiring people, you're going to be able to get it cheaper, but it's always going to be kind of a pain in the butt to hire folks. And I'll just a quick reminder. So we have like almost 60 people and we have 58-ish, and we only have 30 likes. So if you have the opportunity to hit the thumbs up, I really appreciate it if you do. Sadiq says you're using the AWP plugin and it gets duplicate content because it's already published on Amazon. Do I think it's fine, or should you not do it? I would say it's better to have uniquely written content. I think if you just have a small portion, right? If that small portion of the description is just a tiny bit on your site, it's probably not going to have an issue as far as like a duplicate content from Google's perspective. But in general, I would say, unique content is always better. All right. Jaron says, have I ever played around with doing FBA for an Amazon affiliate site that convert well and sending traffic directly to my own listing for higher profit margins? No. And Rob Atkinson and I did a video on why we just like don't care about FBA. So when Rob and I were getting started, FBA was like really picking up. It had been around for a little while, but it was really picking up because like most things, there was a course about it. And then a bunch of people were affiliates for the course. And these courses were like $4,000 or $5,000, very expensive. And the answer is no. I don't have interest in it. Rob doesn't have interest in it. There's a lot of other people who are just like, we'd rather like continue to improve and refine in the area that we're already sort of immersed in and just stick with that. The other part with FBA, it's really capital intensive, and it doesn't have to work like this, but in general, like you have to invest in some, material, right? You have to invest in the inventory. And then as you're making money, you have to continue to reinvest to grow the cash flow. So you have to manage the cash flow, and you have to manage the supply chain. I have low interest in like having to learn everything again, right? So I get some advantage with like internet marketing, and I understand that portion of it, but it's all a different set of skills. So basically I have a low interest in doing it, period. So Randall says, how long does the Google sandbox last on average? 6 months. John asks, do I have an outline of what you get for subscribing for 5-figure niche site? Not specifically, but I should probably like develop it a little bit more on the site. But basically it takes you from start to finish on like finding a niche, writing like the content, hiring writers, doing link building, email lists, go through even like other affiliate programs outside of Amazon, and then selling a site for 6 figures. And if you are interested, John, you'll get the information like that like week leading up to it. But yeah, I usually don't even share it because it's buried in the sales page, which is super very long. Yeah. Seal says, what websites do I ignore all in title? E-commerce, YouTube, and what others? I don't know. Those are the main things that I would watch out for. But basically, Sahil, the idea is if you see a trend of a specific type of site, then you should understand that you may have a hard time competing with it. So basically, like if you see all Pinterest results, also bad sign, right? If you see a trend, bad sign. Suresh says, you published an article 8 days ago based on the keyword golden ratio. How long should I wait for it to rank in Google? That's a tough question. A lot of times it'll show up like in the top 50 within a couple hours, right? It may take a couple days, it may take a couple weeks, could take a couple months. That's not a helpful answer. So what I recommend, Suresh, is to publish like 10 more and then see what happens. If none of them show up, that means like either you have a flaw in your on-page SEO, maybe you have a flaw in like the type of keywords that you're finding. Like I mentioned before to Sahil, maybe it's like all e-commerce for those specific results. So, if you just did one, you may have a little trouble getting any real meaningful data if you've only done one. Saddam is asking, what's my favorite keyword research tool? I'm really enjoying SEMrush currently. For keyword search volumes, I usually point people to Keywords Everywhere because it's free, or Keyword Keg, which is part of the same company. And then how do I measure a keyword competition? I use the keyword golden ratio. And by the way, yesterday I published a couple keyword research tool, just quick reviews are very basic, just like, you know, Longtail Pro and SEMrush, just like using the tool in a quick way. And someone asked, like, which tool do I like to use to get a keyword like difficulty or competition number? And the answer is none. I think they all are not very good, especially the one that I'll point out is the keyword competition, the KC number, and Longtail Pro. People treat it like it's some magic number, but it's really not. In fact, I find it pretty misleading. What I will say is Longtail Pro no longer crashes, right? So when I used it before a couple of years ago, every time I used it, it crashed. And at this point in time, very few people I know use Longtail Pro unless they're an affiliate. The affiliates will still tell you that it's fantastic, but it's still very popular. And I mean, someone mentioned Pat Flynn, whom I'm a big fan of, but like he is recommending a Longtail Pro, and I have a feeling he's not doing like deep keyword research like he used to. He's not like building new niche sites to my knowledge. But the point is, it doesn't matter what tool you use. It doesn't really matter. So, and I thought of an analogy a couple days ago. So I play the guitar a little bit. I'm not that great. I've played for a few years, and I kind of just like reached some point, and I'm not like taking lessons or like trying to get better, which that's a whole other story. But there's some thought, right? Like I would want to get like this really nice like Martin guitar. They're pretty expensive, a couple $1,000, and thinking that it will help me play better, but that's really not it at all. A person, an accomplished guitar player, can go grab my guitar and play it way better than me, and I'll think, I can't believe they're getting those sounds out of the guitar. It's all in like how you're using like the instrument. It's how you're using the tool. The tool doesn't matter as long as it's giving you like some like data that's not completely wrong. It's probably fine. As long as my guitar can stay in tune, it's fine. It's not the guitar, it's me. I need to, like, if I want to play better, I need to like practice harder, spend the time finding the keywords. I need to spend the time playing more interesting songs and challenging myself. So I hope that analogy is worthwhile. The tool doesn't matter at all. Your theme, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what kind of plugins you're using to put your links in. None of that matters. It's everything else. Okay. Marty says, yeah, Marty, what's up? Good to have you on, by the way. You aren't allowed to send customers to links as an Amazon FBA seller anyway. Yeah, that's true as well. It's like a double dipping situation. You'd have to have like two separate companies, and you'd be putting everything at risk. So you'd have to have two separate companies. I'd probably like incorporate in different states, and then like that's what you would need to do. And you would still be breaking the terms of service, but it would be much harder to catch. All right. Liz says you got a nice boost this month by going back to your top 5 visiting posts and adding a comparison table of video and content. Depends on what was lacking. That's awesome. So were those posts already, let's see. So I guess they didn't have each of those. It just depends on what was lacking. Okay. Very cool, Liz. That's a good idea. Okay, D-Card's on. Good to have you on. And oh, cool. I saw some additional people hit the thumbs up. It looks like maybe one even went away. So someone unliked it. Maybe they made a mistake and they meant to like it even more. Shara says, the article is 2,500 words based on the keyword golden ratio. How long does it take to rank in Google? So I think maybe you were just asking follow-up question to the one you just asked, but it should be pretty fast unless there was a mistake made. Okay. Ninad says, what about 2 or more similar keywords? Should I just write one article or multiple articles for similar keywords. So Ninad, you should think about the end user, the searcher who's actually looking for the information. If the same article can serve the two different searchers searching for related terms, then go for it. If it's really two different kind of searchers, then two articles. So think about the end user at the end of the day. Brandon says, what's my feeling about ranking a home page for a specific keyword, like a long form page versus a short form page? Yours is currently long, but on page 5 of Google. Do the latter, short form page. You want the home page to look like a home page. You don't want it to look like an affiliate article, assuming you're doing white hat outreach. Because if you are doing outreach and someone lands on your home page and they're considering it, right? They're like, oh, maybe I'll check out Brandon's site. They go over to your site, they see it's just a long, like, affiliate article. That just looks like an affiliate article. And it looks like you're just trying to make some money and you're not like a good dude. So you want to have an article, or you want to have a homepage that looks like a homepage. So yours is ranking on page 5. So no harm in switching it up. Move that content to its own URL. Thomas says, when you change your slider image to a regular image on your homepage, you started ranking better that day. Is it a coincidence, or do I think something like that can make a difference? Yeah. So Thomas, good question. I hate sliders. I mean, the thing that probably has taken place. So I think that is the reason why it moved. Basically, a slider has typically, not always, but typically it has big images or a video, and it's slow. So by doing that, you probably reduce the load time, and you probably like made people get to the content faster. So yeah, sliders were like interesting looking for a period of time, but I think I remember seeing a study a couple of years ago, or at least like one case study, one test, where they were talking about how sliders like didn't seem to improve the click-through rate. So I was like, well, that makes sense. I hate sliders as a user. So yeah, I think that is directly related. Pratt Mesh says, how am I doing? I'm doing well, thanks. Josh says, you're thinking of purchasing an aged domain. Would I suggest Flippa instead of an expired domain? You know what? I would not. Okay. If those are my only two options, then I would say, yeah, probably Flippa. If I can add another option, I would say, maybe not Flippa specifically, but not an expired domain. So buy an existing site. I would recommend an auction. Those seem to work well. Pratt Mesh says, any tips while choosing a niche? Yeah, make sure there's a lot of products for it. But I think, Pratt Mesh, I think you probably want to answer, or you want to ask a different question that's not a really good one. Okay. And Adam, I love it. Okay. As regards to the analogy with a guitar, you've been playing for 10 years, and a better guitar is motivation for you to practice more. Yes. And that's what I told myself. And I'm usually very well motivated after I like spend some money or whatever. So there is some psychological stuff, and that's how that's how a lot of guitar players, Adam, I think you will agree, and other people, if you play guitar, I think you probably will agree too. That's how we justify making the purchase. So I like it, and I think it's true to an extent. And I could tell you, like, I was about to get this Martin like last summer, and then I ended up not getting it, and I stopped playing for like a month or two. I stopped playing. I was like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna do something else instead. Could have been a coincidence, but all right. Theodore says, in general, do buyers KGR terms take longer to rank than informational and how to? Unsure. I don't know if there's a correlation. There could be more. people competing for the buyer's keywords, but I have no clue. It would come down to a individual keyword basis. Wesley says, you wrote a post about best ballpoint pen, but it's too competitive. You have since found a KGR term, best ballpoint pen for notebook. Should I modify? It's, let's see. I would. Okay, so should you update the existing article or write a new one? I would probably update the existing one, to be honest with you. I'd probably update the existing one, and there's no right or wrong answer, in my opinion. But most of the time, that's probably what I would do. David, oh, it's your first live one. Good to have you on, David Marshall. And then Saddam says you'll have keyword revealer. Oh, it seems good. Use SEMrush only to find out keywords that competitors have ranked for. Yep, that's my primary use as well. David says if you modify an existing post with more content, how long will it take Google to pick up on the changes? It depends on a lot of things. It could be, a day or two, it could be a week or something, but you can just go to the search console and fetch the URL. I have a video on that. So if you search my channel, David, you could find it. Basically, you can fetch it and index it, and then it'll happen like as soon as you do that. The search results may take a couple hours to update. But when I was testing the keyword golden ratio and stuff, I was doing a lot of this fetching and index, and then that's how stuff showed up so fast. If you have a decent number of links going to your site, I find that Google finds new content pretty quick. Okay, and then Pratt Mesh says, do you go for a product which require installation after purchase, though the installation is free from the seller? I'm not sure what that is about, but I don't know what you mean. Next cool thing, you have to get back to work. You'd love to talk about ranking keywords on YouTube. You have some ideas. Sure, you can, leave a comment later, or you can send me a message. Next cool thing. Mark says, how do I feel about Facebook contests and campaigns? How effective? Have I ever done it? Yeah, I've done both. I think they can be hugely effective if you know what you're doing, or a huge, waste of time and money if you don't know. So it depends on what you're trying to do. If you have the right, if you have the right, I guess, what am I looking for? If you have the right goals and it lines up to doing those sort of things, then yeah, that could be a great way to go. Ninad says, is there a way to withdraw money from Amazon other than checks for the non-US? Okay. I think so. I think a lot of people use like Payoneer is what I hear. But Ninad, what you should do, and this is one of those sort of life lesson deals. So I know a lot of things. Most things I don't know. And the thing is, they're like Amazon or like your plugin, or like the theme company that you're working with, they have support teams. And Ninad, you literally can call up or chat or send an email message to Amazon associates and ask them specifically, say, hey, I'm from country X. I want to know like whatever you're looking for, and they'll answer your question. The lesson here is there's a lot of ways that we can find answers on our own. And I find that the people that are successful with like niche sites or, most things, like they're able to first at least exhaust their options to find the answers on their own. So you should try to find answers on your own before you ask, some questions. Now there's some hypothetical stuff like, we're all here. There's a community. We ask the questions. That's cool. But literally, I don't know the options that you have because I don't know what country you're from, a number of different things. The point here is if you have the ability to try and look up an answer on your own, you should try and look it up on your own first. Most of the time we could find answers. And by the way, I related this to niche sites or, internet marketing. So like as I'm, talking with my peers, us who have started 4 or 5 or yeah, I guess like 3 to 4 or 5 years ago, um, we all like can find answers on our own most of the time. And like in my mastermind group, it's like we usually don't just go and just ask a question. We're like, well, I did research here. I tried to find information on this stuff. Here's what I found. And I got stuck at this point. Do you guys know the answer to this question? Have you ever seen it? Because I hit a dead end. So if you haven't hit your dead end yet, then you're asking the question too soon. Okay. Shresh says, do you need to index all articles after they're published? No, totally up to you. Okay. And then Adam says, you also like the analogy of a camping trailer, or purchase of a camping trailer pretty much makes taking another type of vacation a waste of the money spent on the trailer. So you're stuck going on camping trips for the rest of your life. Yeah. One of my friends got one and he was like, the math works out. If we use the camper once a month for the next 10 years, it's cheaper than a vacation. So yeah, you got to use them to make it worthwhile. He's weird in justifying expenses. All right, Pratt Mesh says, do I recommend a magazine type theme? Totally up to you. Theme doesn't matter. David says, this is funny. Amazon sent you a check for 35 cents to the UK once. That's funny. It's pretty funny. Okay. Neil says, would you please give me some example of a niche idea about Amazon affiliate niche for a US market that's profitable for a beginner? So first of all, I'll answer your question, but you'll have to do your own research. What you can do is just go over to Amazon and look at the broad categories. Those are all profitable. So outdoor, fitness, household items, all of them are super profitable, but you'll have to find the specific keywords and stuff to go for. So I can't answer that question. Brightfish, what's up? We have Adam on, or Adam says you use Payoneer for payments outside the US. You ordered a debit card, which makes it easy to use or easy to withdraw your Amazon earnings since you don't want to associate your Amazon account with your personal bank. That's a cool idea. I never thought of that. David says, could I recommend a reasonably priced company that provides niche articles for affiliates? Well, reasonably priced is, up to you and how you're applying that. But if you look down in my description, you'll see I mentioned Content Refined. They do a good job. I'm an affiliate. I get a commission if you use them. Otherwise, if you really want to save money, you need to hire people yourself. But if you want a company, check out Content Refined. JS from Hawaii. All right. Pratt Mesh says, any suggestions while choosing a product, like how many reviews, price range, star rating? This is a very, very loose suggestion. Double-digit reviews, price range $100 plus or minus 25, and the star rating of 4 or higher. That only applies to a subset of products. Amin says, an informational post, is it better to link directly to an affiliate product or better to create another post about the product and link to the post? Which is better in Google's eyes? I don't know. I would Here's my thought. So I don't know. That's kind of I never thought of it that way. I think your question is what would be better from Google. I think if you publish another post and then you link to it, I think that would probably be better for Google. However, I would never do that. So yeah, so I don't know. Kuldeep, what's up? Good to have you. You want to know what would be the next topic to discuss and when that'll be so you can schedule your time. Okay, so I'm not sure. Next Wednesday, I'm going to do another live session. It will be Wednesday, 10 a.m., same time that I got started today. I don't know the topic yet, so I may wait to see. I have a list of a bunch of topics that I may talk about, but I'm not sure. And then, of course, the webinar that's actually on next Thursday. Get a link in the description. That will be on conversion tips. Okay, Saddam says, how long should content be? So 1,000 words or longer. Many people want to see the homepage content around 10,000 words. Okay. They said that getting long content, more opportunity to rank keywords and easier to rank. Okay. So what I recommend is don't put that much content on your homepage. You want your homepage to look like a homepage. And if you are getting advice from people who say the homepage should be long and the other details that you mentioned, that's fine, right? Totally fine. I only talk about the way I do things, right? I'm not saying what I am doing is right. I'm not saying you have to do it my way. So if you find that those people that are telling you to put 10,000 words on your homepage, if you want to follow that model, I respect that, Saddam, and that's cool. However, you should definitely make sure you understand, like, what they're doing and why. And then I would recommend you don't mix and match like my methods with their methods. You should just follow them straight up. So like if you're going to apply someone's ideas or whatever, stick with it. Like do that. Don't try and mix and match. So if you want to like follow that, just follow them. All right. Nicole Deep says that I can email you if I'm not prepared for the next topic. Why don't you actually, if you have a suggestion, you could just type it in here. Because I don't want to send an email. I'll just be honest with you. I don't want to send an email and get more emails. So if you want to suggest it here, I'm all for it. Thanks, Kuldeep, for this, offer though. Really appreciate it. John says, do I have a strategy for refreshing matured articles? I'll just give a couple quick ideas. So add more products. If there's multiple products mentioned, you can add more content to each of the mini reviews. And then the third would be around adding an FAQ section and just put a bunch of like Q&A down there. And Alexander says, happy Friday. Your DA and PA went up with my tips. Awesome. Did the revenue go up though? That's the most important thing. So that's cool. I'm glad the tips are working from a DA PA perspective, but I do try and be results driven, and those metrics are just sort of fluffy. Any other questions? We've had quite a good set. Quick reminder. So if you're still watching the webinar and it's the recording, right? You're watching the replay. Be sure to leave a comment if you haven't already. Remember the webinar next Thursday. Remember the mini course, April 9th through the 13th. It's free via email. Just got to be on the email list. And really cool videos coming out next week, interviews and success stories about the keyword golden ratio. Amin says, when would it be the right time for you to start an email list on your blog? Should you wait until you get a decent amount of traffic or set it up right away? wait till you get a decent enough of like amount of traffic, and you should have like a specific goal in mind on what you're trying to do with the email list. Don't do it just to do it. Brandon says, you recently looked into Market Muse and their AI content optimizer tool. It's pricey, but interesting. I've never heard of it. Is there anything similar? I'm not sure since I've never heard of it. That's less pricey that I'm aware of. No, I'm not sure at all. But I would say you probably don't need it. You know, you probably don't need it. All right. What does it do, Brandon? I mean, so it's a content optimizer. Is it like automatic or something? See, I feel like going through manually is probably better. It sounds like a shortcut type of solution. Mohammed says you were looking for a keyword starting with cheap X instead of best X. The top 5 results are strong with best. If you targeted a keyword with cheap X, can I outrank them? I think anything's possible, Mohammed. I would avoid that. But you should try it, see what happens. My question to you is, do you see anyone that has cheap X that is ranking for best X type terms? If so, then yes, possible. Okay, and Kuldeep says, how to work on high competitive Amazon niche ideas, strategy to select products. Anybody else interested in that topic? So the suggestion from Kuldeep is how to work on high competition Amazon niche ideas. So the only thing, Kuldeep, and we'll just discuss it here right now since we're all here. It's like counterintuitive, or it's counter to the keyword golden ratio, right? I'm going for low competition stuff. I literally don't care about the high competition stuff. So it could be interesting, but not to me. But other people, let me know. I mean, what's the point of going after high competition stuff if you got to bust your ass, continuing to like deal with the competition? Okay. So, Paul, what's up? Good to have you on. And Brandon says you're interested in AI, which analyzes using its knowledge of Google's algorithms. Interesting. Okay. Right now you don't need it. It's 9,000 per year, and it analyzes your pages, compares to competitors, showing a vast amount of information, including missed or overused keywords. Interesting. That actually sounds really interesting. Pratt Mesh says, do I go for a keyword having 3,000 plus search volume and the first results has 35 backlinks? Yes. Do I think you should? I don't know. But yeah, I'd do it. Adam says, you have a question as regards to Amazon. How do I know I know I could just ask them, but just wondering if I know. When a product is ordered but not shipped, has the person paid? Yeah, they paid, it's just not shipped. That's all. That's it. All right. So you sold a product through your link for $3,000. It's ordered but not shipped. Yeah. It's just not shipped. That's all. Mark says you love the Tuesday teardown. Can I tell how much those sites are making? Nope. Thanks about the Tuesday teardown, but unless someone like the owner tells me, then no clue. There's no way to even like really get a handle on the traffic, right? Like we can estimate through SEMrush or other tools, but those are poor estimations at best. Natish says, you have a question. Does scholarship link building still work? I don't know, but I would stay away from it. Thomas says, if you start to rank well in a lot of posts, do people really visit your homepage? Then people really do visit your homepage. Yeah, so some do. Most of your posts are on your homepage, but your views are usually people going directly from Google. Yeah, it's usually the latter. But if you have like a lot of traffic and interesting information, people may go to your homepage. But you are right. And that is typically what I see. I mean, especially if you design the site using the KGR, people are landing on the page where they're looking for something. They get the answer. Hopefully they go to Amazon. That's how it works. Internet for Panda. How are you so hands off with your affiliate sites? You find yourself spending too much time editing articles because some of them have incorrect facts. Did the writer really choose the best products? Am I a control freak? Teach me how to let go of everything and worrying. Okay. So yeah, I think just at some point I was like busy and interested in other things. That's one of the reasons why I got out of editing my own articles, because I would edit too much and I would keep doing more research and do more stuff. So basically, you only have a certain amount of time that you could spend on things, and you have to, you have to let go. So slowly over time, internet for pandas. Okay, and Brandon says there's a podcast interview on Empire Flippers that has an overview. You almost listen to them as much as you listen to me. That's cool. Thanks for saying that. I stopped listening to Empire Flippers. I thought they like stopped making new episodes or something, but at some point I think I had heard like most of the topics, and I just don't listen to as many podcast episodes. I still have them on my phone, but okay. Kuldeep says you're passionate about river crafting and surfing, or rafting and surfing accessories, but you found very low price but high competition. How can I move ahead with it? Well, I'm not sure. I mean, I guess you can go more broad, right? So you can start in the low price area if you want. Actually, I mean, find something different. Either find something different or know that it'll take a while to work in a competitive space, but you're passionate about it, so at least you're interested in it. And Adam says, then you don't have to hold off on the champagne. Yeah, that's awesome to sell something that expensive. I never have. I think I've had stuff close to $1,000, but yeah. Prep Mesh says, how should I design my homepage? Any site that you can get an idea from. Go to, I'll just throw out a couple, but I don't look at a ton of them. So I would say look at like big affiliate sites, right? So look at like the Wirecutter, maybe thoroughly reviewed, and they have a lot of stuff on their site. So I would actually make it like not as many links, but just shorter. Paul says, how often do I change the products on my pages? Almost never. I should check more often, but you're right. Sometimes the products go out of stock or don't exist anymore, and then people click to Amazon. It's not there. They're still cookied to my knowledge, and then they potentially can browse around to find something else, or they go back to your site and click on something else. Yeah, and then as far there's a comment that Brandon has around like the editing and like the accuracy. Yeah, if you have, for me, I would just have like a good editor, and they catch the mistakes. So, Brandon, I know that doesn't help you because you're trying to find an editor, but Liz mentions don't do scholarship. Yeah, I don't recommend it. Mark says, how do I feel about the automotive niche? Not necessarily parts, but accessories. Okay, so Mark's trying to ask if I have buddies doing the automotive niche. So I try not to out anyone's niches or do anything like that. I don't know much about the automotive niche myself, but there's a lot of products out there. And my hunch is most niches have some products where there are great keywords and so on. So I don't know, Mark, specifically. If I did, I couldn't mention it. And then if you do research, you probably can find good stuff out there. So Mark, sorry, I can't help you more. Paul says, the content on YouTube has been intense. Will I share stats and the results? I will. Do I plan on continuing with such intensity? Yeah, but slower. So I'm not 100% sure how much I'm going to keep publishing. Mackenzie is my VA, my assistant, and she and I have like we worked really hard in February to, get some stuff out there. And we published a lot. The results were great. And I could probably do a series on like just that stuff. But are people really interested in that, by the way? So let me know in the chat and in the comments. Okay. Alibaba says you just saw 10 beasts uses a sidebar navigation. Then you show some keywords there. Okay. Can I tell you which plugin they use? No. But Alibaba, this is one of those things there's some tool, right? So go to Google and you can figure out what plugins a site is using. So you could go figure it out yourself. I don't know the name of the tool, but you could find it in Google and then you could just see what plugins and what theme and everything. So you could research it on your own. Okay, Lance says, why don't I add some Amazon affiliate links to my YouTube videos? You know what? I probably should do that more. I try to keep the calls to action to a minimum. Today is one of the biggest, right? So I have like multiple playlists listed over there. I'm trying to get people on the webinar and all that stuff. But Lance, that's an interesting idea. The other thing is, right, I do these videos. I'm trying to like build more of an audience of following on YouTube, obviously get people over to the email list, hence the webinar stuff, right? So the other thing is some people just watch, they have their own sites going already. Maybe someone bought another course, but the course sucks and they're watching my content. That happens a lot more frequently than like people realize. I think people know if you're in another course and you're watching this because my content's better than the course material. That's funny, but also this is free. So there are people who have just randomly sent me like Amazon gift cards, which I think I have to declare as income. But people just send me gifts, right? But I'm not asking for it. So I'm not sure if there's like some mechanism because we have like 55 people. If some people just gave like a couple bucks like here and there, it'd be enough for me to say buy more dog biscuits for Georgie. Stuff like that. She's a hungry dog. The dog, she eats so much. So anyway, the point is I'm not sure I could potentially monetize a little bit better. I don't show ads. I don't know if anybody notices, but I don't show ads at all. I have no interest in, trying to show ads on the channel. I'd rather you just watch more of the content. So anyway, Lance, if you have any suggestions, if anyone has suggestions, I could put, Amazon links. I'd rather people, just send me the Amazon gift cards, or I could put together, here's an idea if people are down with it. Now that we're going on an hour and 35 minutes here. And if you're stuck around this long, that's amazing. I know a few people have. Basically, I could put together like a wish list of stuff on Amazon that I could use directly for the channel, right? I'm using my the webcam on my laptop, but it's not as high quality. I've actually been looking to upgrade to just a little bit better webcam. So potentially I could have, stuff where people buy or contribute to the channel if they have no interest in like being a customer or anything like that. Okay. And Hamid says you almost missed the stream, but you're glad to be here. Cool. People are interested in hearing about the YouTube stuff. Paul is anyway. QDog says Google likes WordPress plugins. Google. Oh yeah. Sorry. Adam says you've cut out yourself as the middleman, so your writers just send all of the outsourced content to the VA. So she's the one who has to worry about getting the on-page SEO good. It was hard at first, but since you're a control freak, you've been able to let go. Yep. And then Liz mentions the 10 Beast got hit with a scholarship issue right after selling it, and then the old owner assisted the new owner to resolve. That's true. People are giving tips for finding WordPress plugins and themes and stuff. Oh, and Paul says there's so much info about Amazon affiliate stuff that's not good. Many YouTube videos on how to make money on Amazon affiliate, but they don't know how to do it. That's so true. And I think a lot of the videos that are actually ranking for Amazon affiliate stuff, it's people that they literally have like Amazon affiliate, like how to start the account, but they have like no case studies and stuff like that. So. All right. And Saddam says, glad to meet with you. Yeah. Yeah. Happy to have you on today. Paul says, have I thought about Patreon a little bit? I've thought about Patreon a little bit, but I'm not like, would people, a couple people suggested it to me at the beginning, maybe about 8 months ago when I was starting to do more of these live streams, because people would show up. I just answer the questions just like this. And I was like, I don't want to come with my hand out, right? I don't want to come start saying, hey, like, give me money on Patreon or whatever, but it could be a way to like do that. I'm not 100% familiar with the fees they charge or anything like that, but yeah, that could be something. QDog says, in a previous live stream 3 to 4 months ago, I said that revenue at the beginning starts to ramp up. So you go from 10 to 40 to 100. Can I elaborate on my findings in general? All right. There's a video. I mean, basically that's it. 10 to 100 to like 400 to 1,000, 4,000, whatever, right? So it goes up fast. There's always a ceiling, right? You don't know where it's at. Basically, QDog, I did a video and it was a live stream. I think it was like the earnings timeline. I talked about like the first 100 or the first 6 months or something like that. If you look back in the last 3 weeks, I shot it on a Wednesday and it was a very popular video. Check that out, QDog, for more details. But basically, that's it. It's like all the work that you do in the first 6 months is compounded. Then when you get out of the sandbox, cool things happen. The more work you do, the better the things are. Okay. Matt says you'd love to know from other chat members and from me how their sites are currently doing. Just months it's been live and income so far. You're just starting out and you'll be launching 5 sites. So everyone, feel free to mention like whatever stuff you got going on. And Matt, I'm going to caution you, if you're just starting out, do not launch 5 sites. Don't do it. Don't do it. Here's the problem. And now that I've tightened my delivery on this, so I think you're going to agree. Matt, take notes. So when you start out, you're going to make some mistakes. If you launch 1 site, you'll make some mistakes and then you'll learn from it and then you won't do it again. Good. Perfect. If you launch 5 sites, you will launch 5 sites. You will make the same mistake 5 times in a row, and then you'll have to fix it 5 times. You'll probably get frustrated and you're going to quit. Or if you're lucky, you'll at least quit 4 of them and then realize you need to focus on 1. So, Matt, don't do 5 sites. I know you think, hey, if I could just get one site making $100 a month and then do that 5 times, $500 a month. Trust me, the overhead to work on 5 different sites is a lot. I don't even have 5 sites. Don't do it, Matt. Other people support me, tell Matt, don't do it. Don't do it. So Matt, if you've already purchased the domains, like F it. Don't worry about it. It's a sunk cost. Just stick with the best one out of the 5. So everyone, hopefully you back me up, but Matt, thank me later. I just saved you a lot of time. In 6 months or in a year, think about starting your second site. And then you've learned some good lessons. You can not make those mistakes again. Okay. And all right, cool. Success Roller Coaster is on. Good to have you on, of course. And Lance is saying it would just be a way that we pay you for the free content. That's all. Every little bit helps. Yeah, totally. And I mean, I have thought about it, but again, I'm trying. Like, thanks for mentioning it, Lance, and bringing this out into the forefront, because I totally, like I said, there's a lot of like internet marketers who are just trying to like get money, eat any little bit, and I'm trying to give like as much as possible. And I think it comes through. I mean, we've been here for a long time. I'm totally out of coffee. I should have someone here to give me coffee. So Q Dog says, you also buy me some gift cards. That's cool. You figured out so much with the content. And by the way, you fully intend to buy the course once you hit a revenue milestone. Awesome. Would be great to have you on. And involved. And there are 2 Wesleys in. Yeah, there's a Wesley Oaks and a Steiner. So yeah, that's right. And John says, gift cards sound good. I've helped you a lot. Awesome, John. I appreciate that, but you won't use Patreon. Mohammed says, you have a new site, a new domain. You have 10 posts in the sandbox, 2nd month in. Cool. Keep at it. Hamad Ahmed. And Q Dog is 9 months in, and you started to earn $15 this month. Awesome. Okay. And people are telling Matt not to launch too many sites at one time. Thank you. David is asking if I've ever bought any websites from Flippa. No. Oh, actually, I bought one. And what kind of sites did I look for? I looked for clean sites with no backlinks. I just wanted a site that had been around for a little while. And that was one of and Matt, actually, this is a classic example, right? So I thought, hey, I'm going to buy a site. I'm going to do some stuff. I did nothing with it. It's literally sitting there. I haven't done anything with it. So. Amin says, is there a specific reason or reasons why a blogger should sell their affiliate site? To make money. You get the money. I did a video on this as well, but basically you get your money up front. So if you want to invest, if you need the cash, right? If you need to invest that money in another project, you need to buy a house, maybe you want to go on a big vacation or something like that, you can sell the site. You can get 20 to 35 times the earnings or the income that you earn monthly. And then you have a bunch of money. Adam says, your tip on starting with many sites, start with one and then start another shortly after you put 20 articles and then let it rank until you're ready to start monetizing it, or even just 5 articles. With rank, you mean collecting domain authority and getting out of the sandbox. Okay, fair enough. I would caution, you do need to have a base set of skills before you do that, or you may end up with, like I said before, you'll make the same mistake in multiple areas and then you have to fix it multiple times. So the good part when you make a mistake is you can learn from it, but only if you give yourself a chance to like re-implement, the right thing. All right. Success Roller Coaster says, how do I deal with procrastination? So sometimes I just go with it, take a break. And then otherwise, at some point, it becomes important and you have to deal with it. All right. Paul says, am I going to launch any new sites with Rob? No plans on the horizon. We're both busy with other stuff. Okay, David says the Amazon link images are small if you create your own images off the product, but larger. Will Amazon penalize you for doing that? Not exactly. So, you have to pull the images via the Amazon API or a tool that uses the Amazon API or use the site Stripe. So you have a couple options, but you can't download it and host it on your own. As Lance says, you're not supposed to do that. Okay. So since a handful of people, you got Q Dog and John and a couple other people, Paul maybe. Basically, if you want to send me a gift card, you can. If you want to send me an Amazon gift card, that'd be great. I'll give you a shout out. I'll show you what I buy with it. You can send it to Doug@nichesiteproject.com. So yeah, if you want to, no pressure. If you found it helpful, put in the email address here. Doug@nichesiteproject.com. Yeah. And then I'll buy something to use on the channel. So, all right. Nanid says you found 59 KGR keywords today. You're ready to implement. Fantastic. Congratulations. Oh, and QDog says David could use Easy Azon or AAWP. I've been liking AAWP a lot here lately. Oh, and I'm an affiliate. So if you buy AAWP, I think it's listed in the description. Yeah, in the description, AAWP. I feel like it's a little bit more modern, a little slicker looking, and a lot of people like it. So, but any of those kind of tools worked or will work. Thomas says, I realize that if you find a keyword golden ratio keywords and can't outrank them, it is not your niche, it's your website, and doing another niche will not get a better result. Okay. I haven't touched that specifically, but thank you for the case study info there. And Adam says, with launching, you mean not doing any formatting, just putting the text out there. It takes $100 and 5 articles for no formatting and needed to save 6 months of sandbox time. So question Adam. All right. So I haven't done that specifically. If you just publish 5 articles, does that mean like you're able to, like, does it actually get you out of the sandbox? Like, have you done that and you're like, oh, I'm able to publish stuff and rank right away? Like, do you know? Or because I haven't tested it, but I have heard of people who bought a domain, they aged it for 6 months, but they only added like a theme in that, maybe they put like one post up and they were like, it seems like the sandbox didn't go away. So that's why I'm asking, just curious if like the sandbox truly goes away. All right. David says, how much content or traffic before you start to monetize? I put up 10 posts, and David, that is like how I launched the site, 10 posts. And David, yeah, hopefully that was helpful for you. Cool. All right. So we're winding down. The questions seem to be slowing a little bit. Let me make sure I answered the questions that were sent in. Oh, there's one other question. Okay. QDog says, do I know of anyone who has started an adult niche site? No, not specifically. So, and I would imagine like the same ideas apply, right? You could probably find keywords that are low search volume and that sort of thing. And I mean, I think the magic, I've said it a couple times, but maybe not today. The cool part is where you take like, oh, maybe I did allude to it, but like you take the ideas that we're doing here and then you apply it somewhere else where people aren't doing it. So if you could take like the keyword golden ratio ideas and other techniques and then apply it to an adult site, I mean, it may not work exactly the same, right? It helps if you're familiar if you have some expertise in both areas. But like, I forget who was asking earlier, next big thing or whatever, was asking about the KGR in YouTube. Could be interesting, right? Like if you can apply certain ideas to places where they're not done yet. Suresh says, how many posts should you launch your site with? 10. And Adam gave us some follow up on launching a site with 5 posts. So he says, all I know is that it's faster to start getting revenue from a site that's been around with 5 articles for 6 months than a brand new one, but maybe other factors played a part in. It doesn't hurt. Cool. All right, Lance is out of here. I think I'm going to get out of here too. Thanks, Lance, and to Duke, and to any of the other moderators. I feel like those are the only folks that were on. So moderators, thanks a lot. Super, super helpful. And Adam, I think that is good data to know. I know people that have like more of a portfolio sort of setup, and they'll like every few months, they'll put up a new site. Maybe, maybe they launch with 20 articles instead, but then they don't really do much for about 6 months. And then they'll come back, start doing some more stuff. And then they have it staggered in a fashion where they're launching new sites are coming up, and they're able to like move their team from like one project to the next. Now, I think that, you could accelerate the sandbox, right? If you have enough budget to do it, you could accelerate the sandbox. And then the other part that I know, Adam, is like if you buy an existing site, for example, and then start doing the stuff that we talk about, then you totally can skip the sandbox. But you have to have an existing site. Ideal situation would be buying an existing blog that's like poorly monetized and someone who's like ready to get out, that sort of thing. All right. And okay, and people are saying thanks. And yeah, like I mentioned, if you want to send, I'll mention it every now and then. If you want to send a Amazon gift card, it's much appreciated. I'll give you a shout out. I'll tell you what I buy with it. And you can send it to the Doug at nichesiteproject.com. No pressure though. Like I said, I'm not trying to ask for stuff, but people do want to say thanks. I do appreciate it. All right. Okay. And Adam says you did launch 5, you soft launch 5 sites that all have 20 articles, not formatted, just looks like an easy blog. And then it was 3 months ago. So you'll keep me posted. Cool. Very good to know. Matt says strange replies to your question. Funny. Yeah. I mean, you're working on each site one after another, and you have a resources and a budget. Got it. So I mean, the thing is like depending on your background. So if you do have resources and a budget, then it's much easier to correct those mistakes that inevitably will happen, right? Like even if it's smaller mistakes, but mistakes are going to happen. I still make mistakes. Other people that have been around longer, like we all make mistakes. So it's just at the beginning, when you're first learning, there's a lot of mistakes to be made. So anyway, Matt, hopefully it was helpful and you took it in the right way. And yeah, if you have money to spend on it and other people are fixing the stuff, it's not as personally frustrating as it could be. So, all right, it looks like we're all done. We went almost 2 hours today. Thanks everyone for hanging on. We'll catch you later. Don't forget to check out the links below. If you're not on the email list, you could sign up for the webinar. That'll get you on the email list. And you can just go to nichesiteproject.com, click the green button. You get a ton of resources and you're on the email list. We'll catch you next week. Thanks.